assistance to help me find a job. Well, let me tell you, those ladies that work up in that office is really, really sharp. I be checking them out. I don't say much to them. I don't. I just be in there and I keep to myself, but I'm always analyzing how they're acting to the people and what type of atmosphere it is in that building, you know. I don't do anything but analyze everywhere I go. That's what I do. And I'm going to tell you something too. I believe that they do a really good job, you know, because I know for a fact that I know people that's went in there and actually got jobs. And I've gone in there to get food stamps and things like that, which I frown on because I don't want nobody giving me no damn food stamps after I know I live on the planet where the universe is supposed to give me my method of sustaining myself. You're not going to take my method of sustaining myself away from me and think that you're going to bribe me with food stamps and a bus pass and think that I'm going to be happy with that, because I'm not. But what I'm pointing out to you is that the attitudes of the people here in the Vancouver, Portland area is really changing. And I want to take credit for thinking that I contributed a little bit of my information to the mindsets of people here locally that contributed to their consciousness awakening. Because, I mean, everyone is waiting. Let me tell you, you guys don't know, I don't get a chance to tell you everything that happened. One day I was on the bus stop waiting on the bus, and this white guy, he was driving the bus for the Trinet, the C-Tran. And he pulled up and he looked at me and I looked at him and I thought, okay, this guy must have saw my video page. He probably get ready to get out and give me some shit. So he got out and he had to inspect the bus stop that I was standing at. And he came up, he was looking, he had his little gear. I know what he was there to see if there was anything needed to be cleaned up. So he came up, he ain't say nothing to me. I was talking to this white girl, she was out there. Me and her was talking about the same stuff that everybody's talking about, concentration camps and everything, what's gonna happen. And when he came up, he just was doing his thing and he was listening to me and her talk, right? And he kept staring at me, he didn't say nothing. So I looked at him and I said, yo, how you doing, man? He looked at me crazy as hell. He said, thank God I'm still breathing, bro. That's what he said. He said that about 7 days after I said it's going to be a lot of you white and rich white men that die because you're not going to be able to get your breath. Well, I didn't realize that there's so many white people in this town that's been paying attention and watching the results of everything that I say and actually responding to it, because I got to tell you, this city is a very peaceful, God-like city here. I don't really see a lot of crazy shit going on. People are really thinking. They're really starting to change their demeanors because everybody's starting to realize that the stuff that I've been said has got some substantiation to it. And so I'm saying that to you white people. I'm out here telling you that the universe is going to burn your houses up and do all the shit that I'm telling you because the sun is telling me to tell you that. Unfortunately, you guys haven't brought any green light, but I do see the attitudes of you all changing. Black people, I don't see many of them, but the ones who I do see, they pretty much still haven't figured it out yet. The black women that I know that I run into, I have moments with and I talk to them, they are always nice to me. Some of them from old school is starting to recognize that I'm not trying to be mean and rude. I have a job to do, and my job is to get you in position where you get ready to meet your self-God. Because when all these earth changes start going on, the only defense you're going to have is what's inside of you as far as your consciousness goes. Hillary Clinton and all of these fascist motherfuckers can do one thing to you if you are protected by the green light. They are feared of their ass about this green light, but they got to ride that shit out because they done put so much into it, and white people is tunnel vision. But I'm going to tell you something. If I could sell 3 million bottles of green light, they all die. They can forget about it. The consciousness will be showed so wide across the globe that the green light will wipe all their asses right off the planet. And we wouldn't have to worry about them damn concentration camps. But the reason why the concentration camps are still going to swing is because of your reluctance to support the God that's here to make sure you don't end up in there. And you rejected this God so much for your white ass Jesus that this God is not going to get you out of the trouble that you got yourselves in, because you're wanting that Jesus and you're still holding on and retaining that Jesus is why you're all going to end up in those concentration camps. I'm warning everybody, buy the green light And we can turn that bullshit off, because this green light is that which encompasses all, and it'll spit on these little motherfuckers and make them die. But you guys created them. You wanted them because you wanted Jesus, and Jesus was their invention. And by you accepting Jesus, you accepted them. So the way you get rid of them is by getting rid of that Jesus, and you turn to a Sar. And the Sar represents the sun. And the sun will burn that bitch up and all those other motherfuckers with her ass, including all their concentration camps. Okay, so don't worry about them. They can't do shit to that green light. But that green light can kill her ass, his ass, and your ass. So know that to be the words of God. And your way out was just explained to you.
Remarks in talking about the issues that confront us. But I look out at this audience filled with not only many friends and colleagues, but people who have served in prior administrations. And so there is never a time when the inbox is not full. Shortly before I started at the State Department, a former Secretary of State called me with this advice: don't try to do too much. And it seemed like a wise admonition if only it were possible. But the international agenda today is unforgiving. 2 wars, conflict in the Middle East, ongoing threats of violent extremism and nuclear proliferation, global recession, climate change, hunger and disease, and a widening gap between...
See, this is bullshit. This shit has always been on the earth. They have always caused it, and she knows it. She knows deep in the heart of all that shit, her ass is getting paid like never before for every bomb that gets sold, every bullet, every freaking gun cleaning equipment, water, fatigues, boots, body bags. Her ass make a profit off all of it. But let's go ahead and hear her bullshit though.
The rich and the poor. All of these challenges affect America's security and prosperity. And they all threaten global stability and progress. But they are not reason to despair about the future. The same forces that compound our problems, economic interdependence, open borders, and the speedy movement of information, capital, goods, services, and people, are also part of the solution. And with more states facing common challenges, we have the chance and a profound responsibility to exercise American leadership to solve problems in concert with others. That is the heart of America's mission in the world today. Now, some see the rise of other nations and our economic troubles here at home as signs that American power has waned. Others simply don't trust us to lead. They view America as an unaccountable power, too quick to impose its will at the expense of their interests and our principles. But they are wrong. The question is not whether our nation can or should lead, but how it will lead in the 21st century. Rigid ideologies and old formulas don't apply. We need a new mindset about how America will use its power to safeguard our nation, expand shared prosperity, and help more people in more places live up to their God-given potential.
Okay, so the Council of Foreign Relations is the same organization who has put the Russians, the Chinamans, the Japanese, and all of the nations have combined together for this new world order. All right? And so, here's the deal. We all know that it's all bullshit. Okay? Let's see what Prince has to say.
Dreamer first. Tell me about Dreamer.
Oh, well, when I saw the State of the Black Union, Dick Gregory really moved me and a lot of my friends. I showed it to everybody that comes over the house, especially white folks, because they need to hear that, you know, so that they know more about all of us. Because what he said affects all of us. He said something that really hit home about this phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky
Me too.
all the time. And said, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing and you didn't know why. Okay, and you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting. So he started riffing about the chemtrails. And he started to say things that hit home so hard. And I would recommend that everybody try to get what he said online or wherever and try to get a copy of it and just listen to it. Because I was so moved that I had to write the song. The other thing is the first line of the song says I was born on the same plantation in the United States of the red, white, and blue. And we live in a place now that feels just about like a plantation. We're all indentured servants. You know, when I found out there were 8 presidents before George Washington, I wanted to smack somebody. You know, I wanted to know why I was taught otherwise. Just tell me the whole story. I'll fill in the blanks, but don't tell me something that you think I'm supposed to know.
We're indentured servants and we got a black president now?
Let me tell you guys how to sum that up, what happened. Why they didn't tell you about the first black presidents. Because they were all black. See, it was the double cross. The only reason you learned about the white presidents is because the white presidents came into effect after the double crossing of the black people that was here in America that was trying to have emergence with these Europeans. It's always like that. The same thing that went on. Now, I can't find no books to corroborate this, but I'm going to tell you what I think. I believe just like the circumstance in Egypt where you had the Hyksos that later called themselves the Hebrews or the Habaru's, they had got dispelled and kicked out of Egypt because they were very ungodly and they was causing people in the Egyptian sector, the melanated people, to act in a manner that was synonymous with the manner of the people who had came in. They were asked to leave. They later came back and enslaved all of the people. I believe that's what happened here in Americas too. The reason denying black President John Hanson being the first one were not taught to us in the school books is because they didn't want us to know of the time where there was a black government here that allowed the Europeans to come in outside of their lies about the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. All that's bullshit. All of it. Okay? When they came here in force with the sole objective to steal this land and enslave everyone on it. So that's the reason why they had to hide the history of America existing with whites and blacks in it simultaneously under black rulership. I can't find no books to substantiate that, but I intuitively know that. I just know it. They did not come over here and just end up with the land. They were here studying in all these learning centers that you see dilapidated and abandoned right now. And they double-crossed us. White men joined forces with black men, usurped the government, set up a new government, and that new government later double-crossed, and George Washington has ended up being president. And when George Washington became president, they eradicated all of the history of America before that point and kept it all under the table. That's theoretically, right?
Well, I don't vote. I have nothing to do with it. I got no dog in that race.
Me either.
And for those who would cuss me out and slap me in person if I didn't ask you why.
Well, the reason why is because I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and we've never voted. And that's not to say that I don't think Barack Obama, President Obama, is a very smart individual, and he seems like he means well.